So I pulled up Forbes.com because, crypto market's down, stock market's down. But the only thing up right now is NFTs. So let's see what Forbes has to say about this because, they know a little bit about finances, I think. People will pay for comic NFTs. Why does this matter? I mean, for all the OG comic collectors out there, I know having that paper in your hand and just, looking, smelling it, like holding it, making sure it doesn't get creased up or spinal tags in the back and making sure it's the mintest possible and just being prideful about you taking care of something that can be tarnished really easy is something hard to do, right? But with NFTs, you can't really damage them. They're digital. I mean, you can't really touch it either.
It's true.
What makes an NFT valuable if you can't touch it or damage it as far as a collectible?
Limited quantity, baby.
There you go. You have supply and demand.
Yeah.
You supply a little less, more demand. You supply more.
It's also the ease of being able to put it on a marketplace digitally, globally. Like, if Leo really wants this, and he's willing to pay for it, Batman for $500 a comic, somebody wants it. That's harder than real life where you have to rummage around a bunch of comic book stores. You can do it. It's still a cool hobby, fun pastime, whatever for some people. But the undeniability of a global marketplace where he can sell something to somebody in the Philippines or Europe or whatever, where there's, millions, like he's saying on Veve, is crazy. And that's like such an amazing selling point to me. But the scarcity is still there. And we had a conversation like a year ago about this. And I said, I've been collecting stuff for a long time, and that's actually why I didn't want to get into this. I already have too much stuff. But but I said, if they keep the scarcity down and they don't just keep reprinting it, they said, we're going to only make 500. But then if they, did that 6 times, I'm like, I'm getting nervous for their scarcity and their promise and goodwill because people won't keep the value because they know that it's going to be overprinted. And that's the one thing. If they only print 500 or 1,000, that's it, we're good to go. For the next 10 years, there's only this many of Batman, Spider-Man, the Hulk, whatever. You're solid. You're going to have a healthy economy. But if the people, you got to watch the people that are running it. If they know that, you're good. So, and it seems like they're doing a good job, and I love that. And they're just making a lot of different stuff in low quantities. Like, what's the highest quantity, or general quantity?
Digital 3D rendering collectibles and NFTs, and then they have comic books, fully readable comic books. But as far as the comic books, they actually came out really hot on this one, which was your theory about, the supply. They came out with the first Marvel Comic 1, 60,000 editions. Okay. So, when I participated in that drop, I bought about 20. I was in Vegas. I know that because I was hungover. But it was last year. Probably around July, August time. I'll look into it. And
60,000.
Yeah, 60,000 editions. But at that point, this is before the Disney reveal. This is before any big, any Ethereum immutable collaboration or anything like that, or migration. There was probably a solid 50,000 to 100,000 daily active traders and users in that platform. So when I participated in a drop, I literally was buying, going back to the page. Oh, it's still available. Buy. And I bought 20 of these comic books for $6.99. And once the secondary market opened up, these things are going for anywhere between $1.50 to $3. And
oversaturated at the time.
Yeah, at the time. Alex, ask me how much they're worth now.
I don't want to know. It's gonna hurt my feelings. How much are they worth?
$700
each. The ones that were
they were going for $1.50 after the drop because
the regular price was $7.99.
It's $6.99. Yes, $6.99.
$700.
Yeah, it 10,000x, dude. It's ridiculous. It's considered a grail because it was the first ever digital NFT comic book. It's considered a grail now. Wow. So people's goals now are to have the common version of this, not even the super secret rare one.
Right.
They just want the basic common one.
Yeah.
That's all the super secret rare one. That one's going for about $60,000. They only had 5,000 or 500 of those. So there you go.
But Leo, crypto and NFTs are all going away.
Yeah, they're going away, man. Hey, like that one video I shared about with that young lady who was talking about NFTs, and she's just like, I'll tell you what NFTs are. I'm not going to directly quote her, but she pretty much said, in other words, it's something you can't touch. It's something imaginary. Like you pay a lot of money to imagine, she said, and quote unquote. That's what actually I did. I really wanted to imagine and tell people like, look, I'm imagining this NFT being real, and you're not allowed to imagine because you didn't spend $8,000 in one. You know what I mean? You didn't spend that 8,000.
I bought a Doge nose.
Yes, you bought a Doge nose for
80 grand.
yeah, was it 20 ETH or something like that? Yeah, it was crazy. 20 ETH.
60 to 80 grand. Oh.
I didn't let him buy the Doge though, so I did not let him buy that. Yeah,
He kept me down.
Yeah, anyways, so Alex,
I bought a house instead.
yeah, yeah,
What
yeah.
the hell is going on with this place?
Alex, I want to get your thoughts in that. Like, so you're saying, you know, when I first talked about Veve and they had like these mints and editions were coming out at like 5,000, 8,000. You're like, okay, good. As long as they're not keep pumping these 8,000s, it won't be bad. But like, I think the issue that I want to like elaborate on is like the user base was only 50,000.
Yeah.
Current user base is getting close to 2 million users now.
Yeah.
And counting. So that really shows a lot, man.
Here's the thing. If the users just keep exploding, I think it's okay. Let's say we're doing Hulk number 15 or Venom number 30 book, comic book. If they bump up that number slightly because they understand there's a lot more users, but it's a one-time drop and it's not, the more you keep reprinting the same thing, the consumer confidence goes down. They're like, well, we don't know what's going on. And so I don't know if I'm answering your question, but people don't want to see their assets and the things they bought continue to depreciate over time, but also they want to feel like they bought the right thing, they did a good job, but also, it's like fiat money. Dude, if they print 2 billion comic books, then they're all going to be worth $0.25 a piece. So intrinsically, the amount that you mint is going to retain that value. And if you're smart, there's been a lot of card games. I've played a number of card games where they're really smart. They only print a healthy amount. Even some of them they'll print for a year or two, but then they stop and they never print it again. So that's the circulation. That's max amount for the whole world, right? Now, I've seen them compared to other games where it's like, oh, this game is gangbusters, so they just never stop printing it. Eventually, all the prices are 5 cents a card. And maybe people like the game, but they're pissed off that they spent hundreds of dollars on their collection. It's not worth anything. So it erodes your consumer-based confidence. And I think that's the biggest deal, and that's why we had that conversation a year ago. And, I think they're doing a good job from what I've seen, what you've told me. I really like that. And they're not going to undercut and hurt themselves by doing this. And they probably have some really smart people on their team that understands the economic, social theory here. That's the biggest thing for me. You already have a really good product. Don't screw it up by overprinting. So,
thank you, Alex. Yeah, you did answer my question. So, yeah. Let me ask another question now. No, I'm more technical here. No, I'm not gonna do that to him.
Pull up a chart.
Yeah. Let's go to trivia now. Yeah. See how good you are.
Bitcoin chart.
Yeah.
Bitcoin chart.
Yes.
Predict
Yes.
it all.
Yeah.
It's all going to 10 million.
Yeah. So going back to the scarcity. So we at that time when July, August, I think we were at about 150 to 100,000 users. They came out with a 60,000 first Marvel comic print. And before that drop, people were like, "Hey man, you're coming out with these 2,000, 1,000, editions. I can't get one. I can't get my hands on one. Give me why don't?" And then these are these people online that think they're wise guys and everything. They're like, "Oh, why don't you just have a drop that's time based? Like just have it for a couple of days and have people buy and then cut it off at that point." But then what happens? It's not, like you said, it's not worth anything at that point because everybody has it. There's about, let's say, 1 million of these things running around and floating around. You know what I mean? Like, there's no scarcity at that point. So then Veve's like, all right, cool. Like, we know where we're going to be at, you know what I mean, in 2 to 5 years. Like, we're going to be in a multi-million user platform. And they're like, well, let's I love how they run the business, dude. They call people out, and I love it. Yeah. So they pulled out that 60,000 mints, And dude, like I said, they were going for $1, and everybody was complaining and just crying and saying, "Well, you came out with too many editions. My NFT's not worth anything anymore." You know, and then everybody online is burning these people. They're like, "Hey, you wanted an NFT, you wanted to catch a drop, you wanted that euphoria of you winning the lottery. Now here you go." And it's not worth anything, but give it time. And that's the thing. People are very impatient in the stock, crypto, NFT game. They want to be rich overnight. It's my money, I want it now type situation. And
even though this is an insane amount of appreciation,
yeah, it's over 10,000% appreciation. It's ridiculous. It's unheard of. It's like, what?
Dude, anybody's like, dude, I want to pull out $100 and throw it on the table tomorrow. I want to wake up, it's $10,000. Anyone wants that, but you got to be patient with this shit. Like, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
Crypto and NFTs are so easy to make money if you buy the right stuff over time. Honestly, if I'm going to be completely frank, it's just a little boring. It's a little non-sexy temporarily, and then it's kind of really sexy when you're like, why do I have this much money now? Because I invested and didn't move it around and freak out and do all the stupid stuff because I looked at a chart and peed my pants. Yeah, you're in the right business. NFTs are great. Veve's obviously blowing up. And it's counterintuitive because a lot of companies that don't sell things go, let's just make more. But over time, that dilutes your price and your customers and the confidence, and the value goes down. If you make a limited amount and you stick it to that, yeah, okay. If they have 5 million people, eventually you want to bump that up to 5,000 or 8,000, 10,000. They do the research and the metrics and whatever, maybe even 20,000 on like some whatever drops they want some more people to have, but it's still not outrageous. It's still way under the amount of people on the platform. It's going to do fine. That's the way I see it, and they're printing so much stuff. You've shown me just like all the stuff they make, and it's unique. It's cool. It's not like, oh, we just want to print 10,000 things. No, like they're all pretty cool, pretty cool things. So yeah, anyways.
Yeah. NFTs, man. Everyone's going to have them. It's going to be a household name.
Twitter, Instagram,
Twitter,
Facebook,
everybody. Yeah, once these people get involved, there's going to be a household name for sure. This is amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. So back to the article from Forbes. Recently, during a video call on the sale and resale of the Disney non-fungible token NFT of Spider-Man and other Marvel characters on Veve, an attendee asked, "Why would anyone buy a digital asset? And if so, why would anyone pay premium for that asset on resale?" Regarding secondary market, if you're not eligible to win the lottery as far as the drop for retail price. The Forbes article, going back to the Forbes article, the answer to the question is the same as the answer as to how to understand the estate planning for artists and collectors. The economic decision process of buying any collectible is predictably irrational. Yeah, it is pretty much irrational. I mean, why would someone spend $8,000 on a Superman, and why would someone spend on the first minted Batman in Veve history $20,000 to $15,000?
That is outrageous.
It is outrageous. And the market cap on those things are in like the 20 million, 40 million market cap. Dude, it's pretty insane, dude. Back to the Forbes article. This is the outline of a predictably irrational, revised, and expanded edition, The Hidden Force of the Shape of Their Decision by Dan Arnold, which is a very readable work on behavioral economics. So they're quoting a book about economics and supply and demand and all that. Good jive. Making such an irrational economic decision occurs most frequently when the collector is caught up in the emotional high of pursuing and acquiring the item. It's called I call it the chase, when you're just like obsessed about it and you gotta find it, but you gotta find it in your price range. It's like hunting. It's like you're hunting.
Sure.
This irrational applies not just to ownership of collectibles, digitals, or otherwise. It is also applied to the ownership of the family business, legacy, real estate as well. First, the economic decision to buy a collectible is unique because the collector places a high price on ownership, deciding often economically rational, and clients are primarily relationship driven, not financially driven. So like, I don't care about the money. I'm going to pay that $8,000 because I want that Superman.
Yeah, I'm very attached to my childhood.
It's true. It is. I mean, when you grow up and you wanted to have those nice things as a child and you weren't able to, and you finally have you're in a financial situation to buy it, why not?
Well, it's not even that. It's, I grew up on Superman, or, Batman, whatever. Like, it's undeniable.
It's
in my
undeniable.
psyche
Yeah.
forever.
You're right. You're right.
Until I'm dead, I love Spider-Man.
You're
Like,
absolutely right. You're a fan from childhood to adulthood.
Right.
And why would it change, right?
Right.
Exactly. Okay, back to the article. Second, the perception of the value increases upon ownership of the asset. Example, this are people who purchase concert tickets based on a lottery value. When asked to resell them, do so at a much higher price than the same people would be willing to purchase the same ticket outside of the lottery. People fall in love with the perception of the possessions. People fall in love with your childhood, like we were mentioned.
I think that's the biggest thing here, to be honest.
Yeah.
People don't talk about all that stuff.
No, they
really
don't.
Smart, Marvel, Disney, all that stuff. That's what's driving this price up the most.
Yeah, it's all the people, all the millennials that grew up with Spider-Man, Batman, whole nostalgia, like Disney, Mickey. We're talking about all the childhood things, man. Vive's doing a really good job of bringing them back in a digital form, and they're pricing them just right for the average person to get in on it on a drop, and maybe on a secondary market, depending on where your position's at, and just capitalize. And then what creates that price to skyrocket is the loyal people that are just collectors, not the flippers that are getting on it, like the scalpers. I call them the scalpels that just try to get out there and just gouge your eyes out with the prices and everything.
Well,
Go ahead.
I think too, right? Maybe I'm really interested in Marvel. I'm actually wearing a Marvel shirt.
Iron Man.
Yeah, you're really interested in Disney, Marvel, whatever, but maybe I'm not into it enough to go buy a comic book, but I'll buy a digital comic book, out of the convenience of, we've had Kindles and Nooks and stuff forever where you can, digitally read books and something. So that's something that everybody understands and just accepts. So why can't I just read my comic book, through my app? And so it's like a nice intermediary of something that's very easy and convenient, and you feel like you own a little something collectible. So it's actually really nice for the people that aren't hardcore that want a comic book, or want both. So I think the market's bigger than just physical comic books.
Yeah, I mean, just think about everything that you like in the physical world, right? Transition to a digital world. It's it's inevitable.
Inevitable.
Yes.
That's the word I use a lot.
Yeah. So back to the article, the values of ownership and estate planning. So why would people buy a Disney NFT? Will there be a secondary market for digital assets because collectors value ownership and control of the digital asset often above their market value? We anticipate that they will behave in an economical, emotional, irrational manner. Some people get pretty crazy without taking into consideration this behavior in many estate planning techniques. So it's pretty much going on and on about how things are going. And honestly, going back to the comic book and everything, and just everything else, it's just layered on layers and layers. Right now, it's early. Like I was talking about online, people were like, "It's still early, man. It's still early." And I'm in my position when I came in. It was early, and I'm telling them, I'm like, dude, I would go on there and get every collectible that they dropped that day on site, retail price. Now I can't even get anything on a drop. I have to go to the secondary market. Luckily, I'm well positioned where I can sell some additional assets and compensate for that. But if you're just coming in now, it's not early for them because they're not getting drops. They have to put a lot more money down. They have to do a lot,
It's still early. I mean, I think it's still early when you're talking, 2 to 5 years out. Like, some of this stuff might be worth more money than we even understand, to be honest. I don't know. Veve's in a really good position, especially, like, merging with Immutable X, Ethereum, whatever. It's gonna be crazy. I want to see somewhere other places that are doing as well as them. The real competition, because I don't see that yet. I don't know if it's coming, but Veve's just in such a strong place. I feel like we should call this episode like why crypto is down and why you shouldn't care. It literally doesn't matter long term. If you're looking to buy for the next couple of years and look into something that you like, I think you'd be silly if you don't buy. I mean, you got to do it. This is such a great time. Like, so many people I've talked to, it's the same thing as we've been here for a while. it's time to pick up this crap because you're not going to get a better entry point. So I don't know. And it might be like this for a couple more months, but after this goes down and the bottom's in and starts going up, man, some people are making real money right now. They're making the killer money. Like I bought stuff, for like 60% off. Like I'm happy, like I know where it's going.
Alex, that's a good point, man. And looking at it in the aspect, I'll ask you a question. Where were these prices beginning of January 2021? Right? They were less than this. So if I were to explain to somebody that's coming in and they're like, man, it's the bottom. It was at 4,000. Now it's at 2,000. I'm like, hey, man, beginning of 2021, Ethereum was at 1,200. Yeah. So this is technically for 2021. This is a all-time high, but also it's a new bottom. And that's the thing people don't understand. Right. All these prices are new bottoms. Yeah, exactly. So you know what that means? That the all-time highs of these prices are not all-time highs anymore once we get it pumping again. Exactly. So it's if you look at it that way, you're like, wow, like that's the bottom. And the bottom was the same time last year, 1,200, 1,500 for Ethereum, and now it's 2,300.
It's time to go.
What's the all-time high going to be this year when it's altcoin season? When you have financial institutions, you have retail, mass adoption. I'll tell you right now, I can throw a number out there. I can sound crazy. I can be like Ethereum, dude, 50,000. I can be like Bitcoin, 500,000 this year, and you're gonna call me crazy. But then it happens. What I'm trying to say is anything is possible in the market that we're in right now.
And obviously I said Bitcoin 10 million earlier. It's a joke. I hope that people notice that. That's ridiculous. Yeah. Although in 10 years, who the hell knows, right? There is a fixed supply. But you look at Solana, it was 220 to 2, I don't know if it hit 260, but it's at least 240. And then Terra was at 100. Now it's at 56. We got Avalanche was 120, 140. It's at 62. It's a lot of good opportunities right now. We're going to look back and laugh at this of how silly and low these prices are. There's a lot of people going to be making a killing right now. That's all I have to say. I mean, it's very obvious. This is where the real money is made, where everything's picked up right now. So,
yeah, Alex and I will talk, and we'll laugh because we're like, man, do you remember when Ethereum was 1,200 and it got down to 900 and we're like, oh, gotta buy at 900. We don't know, it can go any minute. And then it'd go to 12, 15, and then it'd come back down. And now the new bottom is 2,300. It's last year at this same time, if we would have brought up Ethereum next year, the new bottom's not going to be 900 or 1,200. It's going to be 2,300. We would have been like, no way, man. There's no way, dude. Impossible. Exactly. These new bottoms, for people coming in, they get scared when they see 50, 60% decrease, but they weren't a part of the pumps. Pumps where you wake up in the morning, the first thing you do is you don't rub your eyes, you don't brush your teeth, you get on your phone, you pull your platform up, you get your wallets going, and you're like, wow, it pumped 50, 80 daily. It wasn't 80 in a week. It was 80 in one day. You know what I mean? It was disgusting stuff. Degenerate gains. And you were just,
I feel filthy.
Yeah, you're in a euphoria at that point. You're like, man, I'm never gonna sell. This is you're just hoping it stays there and it just keeps going. But then you wake up, a few months later and you see red and you're like, no, we're gonna hang in there, man. It's gonna pump again. It's just a little decline, and it just where we're at right now is just stepping down, really nasty. And
it's that government stuff.
Yeah, it's all manipulated. So that's all I can say.
I think we're getting hit the hardest with the government regulations and fear and people wanting to move things into more stable things and bonds, especially. The world's a big place, and I don't know where all the money goes when it gets pulled out of the stock market and crypto because people do a lot of creative things. There are a lot of people that have been around for a long time and have a lot more money and know what to do. Or they just pull it to the sideline because they don't want to lose money. So But it's like, oh, it's just time to go because we're all scared for a little bit. I guess maybe if you have millions and billions of dollars, it's worth pulling out because you can lose so much. But I'm surprised people don't let their money just ride out in the market because we know it's going back up eventually. I mean, it always does, you know. So, yeah. It's a good time to buy.
Yep. The market, man. It's a wild animal, man. It's like, you know, it's like you're out in the forest and you meet like a tiger or something, and you're just like, I don't know what it's gonna do, but hopefully it doesn't kill me. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm looking at crypto right now. Like, hopefully it doesn't kill me, but you know, I have this freaking tranquilizer gun in my back pocket, and it's NFTs, so I'm all right. You know, I'm gonna knock this thing out, you know, or knock myself out. I don't know, one of those two. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna hit myself with it, and I'm just gonna go to bed, and hopefully when I wake up, crypto's back up again. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Douche. I'll see you in a month, fellas. Douche. You know what I mean? Wouldn't that be crazy? Wouldn't that be crazy? Like in the future, you just get in a pod and you're like, what? Yeah, investment pod or like life pod in general. You're like, what's today? It's January 26th of 2055, and I'm like, what's going on today? Well, we're about to do World War 10. We might go have a nuclear holocaust. You're like, shit. All right, get my pod ready. Put me back, let's see, in another 6 months, see where we're at with this. You know what I mean? Like, you just freaking go to sleep.
Hey, if you can cryogenically freeze and make sure you don't age, you're good to go, right? The aging is the biggest problem. So you give yourself a little hit of little light Botox and everything, you're good to go. But we're definitely not there yet. I definitely say within the next 100 years. But yeah, falling asleep, honestly, yeah, this crypto puts me to sleep. So maybe it's not so different as a pod, but I think that's it for this episode. Yep. So thanks for hanging out with us, and let us know what you think.
Yep, have a good one. We're out.
Later.